wide number of different positions. No more Sicilians. E4, E5. A moral victory there for Magnus.
Yeah, because
D2,
he's saying...
But that was his one win.
Yes, in the Sicilian.
Yeah,
but then,
so why not repeat it yet?
Well, there was no open Sicilian in that.
Right, he dropped out of the open Sicilian and showed that he's going to play some positional lines.
King's Indian attack, and look at them, the blitz to one of the main of a closed Sicilian with A2, A4, and the players are really playing remarkably fast. It's not a 10-minute game. It feels like a 5-minute game at the speed that they're playing. And finally, Ding just thinking for a few seconds after this early knight D5.
With the threat of bishop to G5. So he has to anticipate that. He's played H6.
H6. And one of the questions I would have had, why capture that knight on D5? He did play the move H7, H6, okay? But this knight bothers me. So let me take that guy off the board and say, hey, you put your pawn up here, defend it. Do you see any...
I think he might have been afraid of taking on B4 and then D4 in that position.
Maybe he was afraid of D4 and bishop takes H7 check style sacrifices.
Right, but I might have...
You know what I'm saying.
Yes, of course.
This, the bishop...
no, but he also could just take on E5 twice.
What do you mean? After D4?
Knight D5, after D4, knight D5s.
No, I'm just saying he didn't. He did
You're
not
hanging your
capture.
D pawn. You're hanging your E pawn. When you get my D pawn, you hang the E pawn
After D4.
Worst case scenario.
Okay.
If the bishop H7 stuff looks pretty promising as well.
Okay,
so
H7
H6 was the choice.
And then, are we up to date with the players, Jen?
No,
think
Magnus
I see
played A5.
Yeah,
this is Magnus's favorite move. But in this case...
Same question.
And there
How
it
about
is.
knight takes D5?
And now knight takes D5, takes D5.
And he took on A5. We've seen Magnus sacrifice
the pawn on A5.
this A pawn for less reason. And there he goes.
Like that. I don't like that move.
Bishop A4,
Bishop
E7.
That A pawn isn't worth all that trouble. Think about the knight and how many moves it's going to take to get back on a circuit. Knight B7, knight D8, and you're still kind of stuck. So you're really off sides over there. I really like knight E7. My strong preference was for knight E7. He took the pawn, Magnus to play.
Magnus now looking for the break he needs to really hyper-accelerate this game. But the D4 break is the most natural one. At the moment, the bishop is guarding the rook on E7, so...
That would give the C4 square. I'm wondering how I can ramp up piece play on the king side.
On the king side?
Yeah.
Seems difficult to pull off.
Right.
He's now brought his knight back, anticipating
D2?
a potential bishop G4 as well, bringing it back. Where is this knight headed? E4?
Rovers?
I don't know.
Queen
Rook
H5?
B8? I like this rook B8 move. Hyper prophylaxis on this B pawn, protecting it. Maybe take back with a rook in case you need to. Also keeping the B file open. But it's very hard to see how Magnus applies pressure here.
Well, let's start with the knight E4 move. So I want to play F2, F4.
And if F5 against you?
I'll drop back with a knight. Again, I'm eyeballing F4. Basically, I'm trying to create a theater of battle on the king side as far away from this knight on A5. I'm hoping to open up lines while your knight is...
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. In I was going to say Aikido fashion, a little bit of an obscure reference, but now we are seeing C4 instead. C4, knight B7, and the same plan, the knight came back to B7.
Yes.
And now knight E4, F5.
Yes.
And knight G3,
knight
F4.
G3, F4.
Knight back to E4.
Otherwise,
down, giving that square.
Otherwise, F2, F4 was on White's agenda. Ding did not want to see White opening up the lines. Played knight F4 at the cost of giving the knight a very nice, handsome outpost in the center.
But now rook F7, and the point of this position for black, as you said, is that knight on B7.
Right.
Everything is about how is this knight going to improve itself. Black is going to try to move his queen out the way at some point and then get his knight to that D8 square, as it's the only square it can go to.
Right.
And he has to untangle his entire queen
Army
side.
to do that, yes.
And his knight is the one piece that's blocking everything. Also, however, he does have some chances to attack himself if he can somehow appear on that side with his queen, play for g5 in some positions. Very ambitious plan. Magnus played bishop to d2. I have to say I'm a little surprised by that move because what is the bishop going to do on the next move?
Yeah, I think it was just the idea that he wants to connect his pieces without necessarily committing himself. But I think that basically Magnus has to wind up and play g3, even if it exposes his king.
Queen b6 was just played. I am more than a little surprised by that move.
Mortified by that
more.
And bishop,
what?
Yeah, bishop to e8, tickling the rook. He's going to bring his bishop.
Oh no, that was a terrible move. Pardon me, Ding Liren.
Allowing queen h5
to. Okay, after bishop
rook e7 and queen h5, spotting this problem of the queen leaving, and suddenly we have bishop g6 coming with a nice piece on that square.
Queen g6.
And look at this reply, bishop f5, very alert to the moment. Ding showing off his own tactical skills. Queen takes on f5. That was an important move to find.
I think this is working out really well for White, however, because White is now ready to play g3, and it's going to be this bishop versus this bishop.
So rook takes, before you go, it's happening. Rook takes queen g6, king h8, and now g3.
Yes.
And the whole discussion hinges on the fact that this black queen left the sector. When it landed on b6, we both went, why are you over there?
Yeah.
Because I like the queen on this king side of the board.
We all did, yeah.
And by shifting, you just made a champion of Magnus' caliber say, let me go on the other side now and take advantage of it.
And just look at the two minor pieces for
now the knight is going back to a5. The knight is going back to a5, and he simply hung the d-pawn. Knight takes freebie on d6 with no tactics anywhere to be found. That's just a pawn.
Knight a5. Are you sure? Knight
yeah,
that is what
happened.
happened.
Right there in the camera.
Knight went back to just simply horrific square. He was looking to play knight b3, trying to improve his knight, but he just simply hung the pawn. King to g8.
Because there's a threat of knight f7 with a disco on the queen on b6.
And now the knight on d6 is actually pinned.
He can take on a5 and play knight f5.
And that's exactly what he's done.
Or
He's taken on a5 and realizing that the rook on e8 was hanging. He moved rook to d8, and there must be some killer blow in this position that ends it because he's up a piece and a pawn.
At the moment,
a piece and a pawn. It's just which move wins.
He's going to lose back the piece, unfortunately, for Magnus. I don't see a way that he can save it. He can simply play rook a1, rook takes d6, queen back to e4 with a dominating position.
And that's what he's done.
There's no knockout, right?
That's right. Rook a1, rook d6, queen e4. That's exactly what happened.
And this is a really, overwhelming position now for Magnus.
Queen back to b7, defending the a pawn, but allowing the c pawn to drop. Rook every move, c5. Everything is going. He just took a free pawn again.
That's another one.
This is resignable.
Absolutely. Rook c6 this is too easy for White to play now. It's not just material, but it's material in great presence of the pieces for
Rook
White.
f7 was played. Yeah, this is not about material anymore. This is not about piece play. This is about Ding Liren not being able to recover, despite even that break in between. He stopped playing at his level now.
Yeah.
He stopped playing at his level.
He's reeling.
This is where in boxing they would throw in the towel, say the guy can't fight back. You've got to stop this because he's just reeling. He's not playing the board anymore. And Magnus, he's that kind of champ. You just keep pummeling you on every single move. Rook c6 now.
Another beauty.
And just look at that white light square nexus. Queen, 3 pawns, rook, avoiding black's bishop completely.
Rook takes c6, pawn takes c6, queen d6, all played.
With a tempo against the queen.
Takes on f4.
Takes on f4, so there's no trickies with queen takes f2 and rook on the line.
Play bishop takes f4 next.
Yes,
and
bishop
why
takes
not
f4,
take another pawn?
And that c7, and that bishop will be able to drop back
bishop
to g3.
c5 now playing for tricks.
But even if you take this pawn on f2, I can dance away very, very happily.
He danced first, king h1, everything to light squares. This is what you do. Now that everything is on a light square.
And look how beautiful that queen is.
Then you have no play. You have no play. You want to lead with your bishop on f2, go right ahead. You will have no play after he takes on e5. And so he played bishop to d4 instead.
Well, that looks like, I wanted to say, dare I say, another pawn. My greed is getting the best of me here.
That would let the rook get
Come
into
to
the game.
F2.
Only one piece.
That's only one piece, and I can even think about bishop takes h6 sacrifices as well. I've got rook g1, and he's done it.
Yes, of course.
I mean, he's just saying, I'm just going to take all your pawns, and
It's going to push. What about pushing the ponies?
yeah, rook takes f2, get those doggies moving. But another move that just really I found attractive.
Watch out for queen c7. That can be kind of annoying.
Yes.
If e6, for instance, queen c7, you can't
Good, thank
defend
you.
h2.
e6, queen c7. Oops.
You're losing a piece. Queen h4, and then you drop your bishop on d2.
Right, I
Your
can do
attack
much
doesn't
better
work.
than
So
that.
at
You know what I
least
should
that's
do?
there. He's got to be alert to that idea.
I could even just start with bishop f4 with the idea of defending my h2 pawn with my bishop and supporting these
Be
guys.
slightly careful because there is a passed b pawn that black could get with bishop takes b2. I know it looks ridiculous, but
Too slow.
if he takes on b2, he's only 3 moves away from queening himself. So you have to be a little bit careful for that. Magnus now just studying the situation.
Because f2 was captured.
Yes, this is the position on the board, and Magnus just making sure he's got 4 minutes.
I think bishop f4 is a beautiful consolidating move, Maurice. Bishop f4, bishop takes b2, or rook takes b2. Bishop b2, rook g1, threatening bishop h6, as well as e6. And I've got my king beautifully secured, and your b pawn isn't running. Really, it's not.
He does look very positional and very
Yeah.
strong. He might be looking for a knockout blow. It's only his rook that doesn't work right now. That's the sole piece. If he could just bring it in the game, I'm sure he's staring it down to see if he can get it happening. He has
played
finally
bishop
played
f4.
your move, yeah, as bishop to f4.
4 minutes. Well, 5 minutes.
But
pardon
hey,
me.
this is
Five to
in a
four.
blitz game. These open lines against the king and the activated rook. It's not that easy for a human to win this. But Magnus Carlsen is the ultimate chess human, right?
Really?
But there's a tactic here that
Rook
is
takes
possible
f4.
to take on
Then after
f4.
queen takes c6, check queen back to e4.
No, take on b2 first.
Oh, I beg
Oh,
your
okay.
pardon.
So
Sorry, queen takes f4, takes on b2 first.
Right, that way you don't have rook a6 to think about.
Can I? No, I can't push a pawn. I beg your pardon.
And now queen c6 with a lost position likely, but not as bad as it used to be. What is your threat? Because bishop e5 is playable in that position.
yeah, that's annoying.
Okay, let's see what has happened. by the way.
Instead, he played bishop takes b2 first, and Magnus spotted the problem. After bishop f4, he took on b2, and now bishop to e3, not allowing the second chance of rook takes f4. So again,
Ooh,
missing
that's
an
a
opportunity,
Clincher.
and that looks really bad.
That looks, yeah.
And Magnus is leaning
Ooh.
back.
Saying you missed your shot. Rook takes f4 would have at least
Was
made
annoying.
it difficult. Yes.
It was very annoying.
Yes.
It's Hikaru's pet peeve, somebody leaning back,
That
and
was
that's what
probably-
Magnus is doing right now.
That was probably why Magnus took his time over bishop f4, because he recognized there was an exchange sacrifice that made it a little bit more difficult for him. Ding, missing that opportunity, took on b2, and bishop e3 is great.
That
Great
just shows
move.
that Ding is not in the form he needs to be in.
I do believe we have a move, queen b8,
Queen b8, yeah.
on the board. Queen b8 indeed is on the board.
But if I take your rook and start some kind of demonstration with my pawns, actually your b pawn is something to worry about. So maybe I'll keep my rook. The rook is going to hang, right? So what if rook g1 here?
Rook g1 is a very strong move. I like that move a lot. You're setting up, not only you're threatening the rook, but you're also threatening to play bishop takes h6 and crash through on the g7 pawn. Magnus reaching for his rook has indeed
There we
played
go.
rook g1.
That technique.
And by the way, another really great move for white in the position, as if he needs something else, is to play the move d3, d4. Why? You keep that bishop out of the... You shut the bishop out, but this queen also eyeballs the b1 square. You think the queen is only there for defensive purposes, protecting the king? No, it can also keep that passed b4 pawn under control.
He
Rook
just
f8,
played rook
d4.
f8, d4, and you see pawns look like that, and you just want to cry.
by the way, I think we're talking about 4 connected pass pawns.
And there it is.
Yeah.
And
James
Four,
said-
speaking
looks
of
like he wants
4,
to
it's
cry
the
right
4th
now.
victory